I wanted to get you on here today because we wanted to learn a little bit more about A Walk in August and about your journey to get to this premiere production of this piece. So I'm familiar with August Wilson's work and mostly Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Fences. How did you come to know August Wilson and what was your relationship with him?
Well, the wonderful thing about this piece is that all of that ground gets covered because being an artist, especially a black artist, you don't know whether or not who the ne- who the next person is you meet. To keep it in kind of a Minnesota perspective, um, when I was in college, we hired a group from a high school in South Minneapolis to come and play a band, to come and play for a party that we were having. And it turns out that that band was a band called a band that let me remember. I can't remember the name of it. It walked right out of my head. But here's the important part: members of that band were Jelly Bean Johnson, which means nothing. Um, Morris Day, which means a little more.
He was with
Jerome,
Prince, right? Wasn't he?
huh?
Birthday performed with Prince, right?
And Prince was their keyboard player. So we hired all of those guys in high school when they were in high school, and so you never know who you're going to be rubbing elbows with. And so I was in a rehearsal one day at a theater company that I happen to be, I have the honor and the privilege of being a part of, one of the last remaining professional black theater companies in America, Penumbra Theater Company. And the guy who was directing the first piece, Claude Purdy, brought a friend in from Pittsburgh. And it turns out that friend was August Wilson. And at the time I was 20 years old, and we just sat down and kicked it, and it started a relationship that we kicked it off and on until even after he became famous, or after he became the August Wilson, or I should say that after the world discovered him. Um, I still had the pleasure of being able to stop and kick it with him every once in a while, and more importantly, work with him, be in a position where I feel that he ended up writing words from my mouth. That's one of the greatest things you can ever have as an actor, to have someone great write for you. He did. And it made me a better person, a better actor, a better human being, because one of the major things that he taught me was find your voice. And when you find your voice and find your story and share it with the rest of the world, that you grow. And not only do you grow, they grow from from hearing it. We were telling black stories by black writers, and it stuck. That was the organization. Penumbra still exists. So we're coming up on a 50th anniversary, and it was by the community, of the community, for the community, and it's still working like that. And it just so happened that in the middle of that, August sat down when he was thinking about relocating from Pittsburgh, and chose to move here. So while he was here, he was a writer when he got here. He availed himself to the an organization here called the Playwrights Center. Worked at the Minnesota History Center as a writer, and discovered the fact that you could be a professional playwright in Minneapolis, in St. Paul. Let me please not say in Minneapolis, because I don't know how it is in Raleigh, Durham, but if you're in Minneapolis, and you if you're in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and you claim to be and someone claims you being a citizen of Minneapolis when you're originally from St. Paul, that don't go right.
Yeah, it's the same here.
Okay.
Don't confuse Durham with Raleigh.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. So, and that's what it was. We all discovered our artistry around the same time, and so I got a chance to. I grew up speaking August Wilson's words, and it's an honor and a privilege. It's like I can't imagine in the 17th century, it's like someone walked in and said, "Oh, here's a guy you should meet. His name is Will Shakespeare," and you get a chance to grow with that person as an artist, as an individual, and that's what I got the honor and the privilege to do. Um, the piece in itself is a thank you that I wrote, or I'm trying to do this without giving too much away, but the piece in itself is a thank you for the growth that I experienced. I was 20 years old when I met him, and when I made my Broadway debut in Radio Golf, it was 2007, and I never expected. When I started in the arts, as a young artist, you don't know the value of what a career is. You just go from show to show to show to show, and then there lean times, and then there are not lean times. And I got the chance to grow up as a person, as an artist, and as a man, as a black man in America. I got a chance to do all of that inside of the works of August Wilson.
Mm. We're so excited to be presenting this premiere production of A Walk in August. And thank you, James, for spending some time with us today and sharing more about August Wilson, your relationship with him, and how your relationship and your life is paralleled and reflected in what we'll see in February.
All right. My pleasure.
Thank you.